Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Speakeasy. I'm your barkeeper, Jeff Belanger, and happy Friday. I mean, you made it through another week, and that is worth celebrating. It's worth having a drink, coming to hang out with us. Thanks for relaxing. This is the place where there's never a cover, and of course, I don't card anyone. And I'm thinking maybe you did something nice for others this week. Maybe you did something nice for yourself. In the best case scenario, you did something nice for both. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a secret about these speakeasies. Some of them require a lot of prep, a lot of reading up on my guests, thinking long and hard about the subjects we're going to cover. And then other folks don't require much prep at all because I've known them a while. We've spoken in person, and I know the conversation will go wherever it's destined to go. Tonight is one of those no prep guests, not because I'm lazy. I'm not. I just know it's bound to get interesting no matter what. So tonight, please raise a glass and let's toast our friends. In fact, share with your friends if you haven't already so they can join us in the speakeasy, start watch parties, whatever it is you got to do. And let's welcome, remember the show Haunted Collector or Scared TV or Paranormal Caught on Tape or this crazy Three Pillars game? Well, that's just some of the many exploits of my buddy tonight. Please welcome, all the way from the interweb, Brian J. Cano.
Okay, hey.
You made it.
Jeff. What's going on, man?
What are you drinking?
I am drinking, I don't know whether we want to call it a Captain Pepper, a Dr. Morgan, but it's rum and Dr. Pepper.
Fantastic. I'm doing beer from Wachusett Brewery in central Massachusetts. I'm going with watermelon because it's after Memorial Day. So cheers, buddy. Good to see you.
Cilantro.
Yes. Cilantro to you as well. How you been faring since the zombie apocalypse started?
It's crazy. I mean, I've got the ammo, I've got my bug out bag, and yet I've been reporting to work every day and doing things as normal. So I work at a fairly large multinational company that's about to hit trillion. Don't want to say the name, but you know the name. We deliver smiles. And it's just weird. We're all masked up. We're staying 6 feet apart. But the good thing about it is that we're delivering supplies to people, PPEs, masks, essential supplies. So well, it's a little unnerving. It's a little scary for us being there. It's all so close in a building. We know that we're doing some good for people out there.
Fair enough. And Brian, I don't know if you've noticed this. You're not. So look, I got to tell you, I had some big news this week. Really big, crazy big. This is what I looked like yesterday. That's real. That's yesterday. That's today. This is a big week.
What a difference a day makes. You're making leaps and bounds. This is your week, man.
This is so in Massachusetts where I live. This is the week that hair salons were allowed to open, barbershops, and so on. It was a pretty crazy experience going to get a haircut. I would like to tell you about it because it's kind of paranormal. So the day before I had to fill out a questionnaire. Have I been sick in the last 2 weeks? No. Been around anyone sick? No. And then you go, they did say, I had to upload a picture of what I look like. I'm like, okay, whatever. I did. And it said, what do you hope to accomplish? I said, total enlightenment. I didn't know what else to say.
Right. I assume.
And then I had to go there 15 minutes early. No problem. Sit in the parking lot and call them once I'm in the parking lot to say I'm here. And then they call me up and say, okay, we're ready for you. You put on a mask, over the ears mask. It can't be the tie behind. Obviously, You're getting a haircut. And then you go in and everybody's in masks. I'm in masks. They did a little shampoo thing. And then Emily cut my hair and I felt lighter. It was just falling off in chunks. Right. And then no blow dry, no nothing, no frills. But my goodness, I feel like a new man. And it was this little slice of normalcy. And
one would never have assumed at the top of this year when everyone was toasting and saying, Happy New Year, that something as simple as a haircut would be a life-changing experience.
A haircut and a beer with a friend. It's a damn good week.
Yeah.
And you're in Mulder's office, which is amazing. Catherine noticed.
Who noticed? Who had the eagle eye?
That was Catherine. Well done.
Hey.
And thanks for noticing my hair. Patty Negri. Seen her on Ghost Adventures.
Adventures.
Yes. So yeah, no, it's been really strange. And you're in New York, right? I mean, that's where you're based.
New York City. I'm in Staten Island.
Yeah. So what's that like? I mean, you're kind of like one of the epicenters.
It's weird because there's a lot of stuff that's Staten Island centric that's coming around. I mean, we've got Impractical Jokers and everybody loves those guys, but now we've got Pete Davidson is coming out with a movie called King of Staten Island, and the FX comedy What We Do in the Shadows is based weirdly enough in Staten Island, but it has nothing to do with the island. So we're getting a lot of, I guess, press lately. But Staten Island is one of those boroughs in New York City. Like, all right, if you're unfamiliar with Staten Island, and you think New York City, you're thinking it's skyscrapers and subways. This is not it. We are very suburban, and we're an island, so obviously, we can't get off very easily. But it's been crazy because I walk around, I go to the market to get food and whatnot, go to work, come home. I've been adhering to the go to work, go straight home. And as I drive around, people are just kind of strolling about, no masks, as if nothing's going on. And I think, yeah, I mean, I would love for things to get back to normal, but I don't think we're quite there just yet.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, right? So I've noticed, in Massachusetts, we're still in phase 1, which means different things in different states. But, I'm going out more. I'm not being stupid. I'm doing the mask. I wash the hands and all that other stuff. But like, I'm working on a big house project, and I live like 1.2 miles from a Home Depot. And so, I mean, my record is going there 4 times in one day. Not recently. I mean, in the past, where you're like, oh, I just need this bolt, and then you go get it. And so suddenly I'm like, I got to go there. But it was surreal. I was there yesterday, and I was like, everyone has a mask on, or they won't let you in. So there's that. And you're trying to be right and stay far apart from each other and everything. But hi, Connie. So
hey, Connie.
It's we could say hi. There's not a lot of rules here. This isn't very formal. It's a speakeasy, right? Like, we're not even supposed to be here drinking, Brian. So
not even supposed to be here today, and it's weird because like the facial cues are gone because you're wearing a mask. I was in the supermarket and, you're trying to get around people and usually you just smile. The smiles you can't even see. So you just see like, these eyes boring into your soul. And it's back to the city thing of just looking down, just keeping myself.
But come on, man. A real smile's with the eyes, right? But let's try it.
I don't.
Wait. No, wait. This is so goofy. Brian?
That.
Well, that was short. Good God. Anyway, let's talk about your childhood, because you sent me a couple of pictures.
Born the son of a sharecropper.
This is just, you were the son of a sharecropper. The coal miner's daughter, I believe, is your nickname, right?
Yes.
That's what we've been calling you for years.
Exactly.
You're a paranormal guy, and apparently always were, because that's just darling. It took me a second, but that is young Brian J on the left. Look at him. Look at you, you stud. Is that what kind of Wonder Wagon is that with the Ghostbusters symbol on it?
That was the family car, a Nissan Sentra.
Yeah.
Back. And it was brown, but to an 11-year-old with an imagination, it was Ecto 1. And, I painstakingly traced the album cover, for those of you who remember records, traced the album cover of Ghostbusters and stuck it on the side. Now, that's great for October 31st, and all the little kids come by to trick or treat, like, oh, wow, it's the Ghostbusters, and hey, it's cool. And it sat there as a prop. But I forgot to take it off. So the next day when I went to school, and this was junior high, that weird, awkward age where you're still a kid, but you're grown up, you're trying to be cool, but you still have, boyish things. And
still there.
When Mom rolled up to pick me up, everyone's like, it's Ghostbusters. And whereas the day before saying it's Ghostbusters was cool, today it was not. And I was like, oh, God. And then I did this. I only have myself to blame. But you know what? These days, F it. I would put it on my car 7 days a week.
Hell yeah. Ecto 1 on a Nissan Sentra. Maybe Ecto 7. I don't know.
Ecto 8.2.
Yeah. That's a little ambitious. But you grew up. And that happened. Oh, no, not really. You didn't grow up at all. No.
Not at all. I grew up and then I grew back. You grew
older.
I devolved.
Yeah, well done. Ecto, that looks like at least Ecto 2 or 3. That
Yeah.
looks a lot slicker.
Thank you, Casey. Stranger Things, I'm waiting for a royalty check or something because
Yeah, they stole your childhood. Isn't that funny? When that
Oh.
show came on, you're like, that was me.
that time I went to the Upside Down, I never told anybody about that. Come on.
No, I totally get it. I totally get it. So, I mean, a paranormal guy, obviously, Ghostbusters influenced all of us, and if you say it didn't, you're a liar. So there's the photo evidence, but like, what makes a guy a paranormal guy? Like Brian, especially. I mean, you grew up in Staten Island, right? Like that's
yeah. This is me. I'm a Staten Islander.
We don't think of city boys as paranormal people. I don't know why. Maybe that's my my country boy ethnocentrism. I'm not sure, but how does a city boy get turned into a paranormal guy?
Call it fate. Call it karma.
Yes.
I believe that things happen for a reason.
Keep going, Bill Murray.
I believe that I was destined to stay here in this dump. And yeah, I mean, I just grew up with it. I was 10 years old when the movie came out, so it influenced me. Obviously, it got written into my DNA along with Star Wars and Rocky and all these other pop culture movies. But for the paranormal, up until that point, everything that I had seen was dark and demonic. It was The Exorcist, The Omen, anything on the subject was you're gonna die. And here we have a comedy. You laughed, it was silly, but these guys handled it with tech, and we're ready to believe you. So these things kind of stuck in my head and eventually came to fruition when I was older.
And so I remember way back when you did Scared TV. That's when I first met you. You were doing these documentaries and stuff, and like really cool independent projects and things like that, and always a great resource. I mean, whenever I was,
Thank you.
Yeah, it was always great to talk to you guys. Carl's in the UK, and he's probably been drinking since noon all the time, so he's probably going to be unconscious any moment.
Carl,
good to see you, Carl.
Well, it's funny. It's bringing me back to the Scared days. For those you want to take it back,
yeah.
And I remember Dave Schrader's will remind me of this from time to time. Back on MySpace.
Yes, it's coming back. It's coming back.
Our page,
yeah.
And we made a little graphic that says, "Hey, you want to see our show? You want a DVD? Let us know. We'll send you one." And this was before YouTube, so that was the only way we really got to share our show. So people would write, they say, "We want to see it." So I would literally have to make, burn, and mail out copies of Scared. So somewhere out there in Goodwill stores and trash bins are DVDs all over the country, all over the world of Scared.
My shelf's like right over here. I'm looking. Keep talking.
So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm gonna see what he's gonna.
Where'd he go? I think one of us should be on screen at some point. Maybe we got to like tap out or something here because people just like, where'd they go? Oh,
I know. I've got one of your DVDs here somewhere, but there's a big blue screen behind me that I can't get to my stuff.
That's fine. That's fine. Brian says, tell them about the Twinkie. No, wait, not all right. We got it.
About the Twinkie.
Yeah. So no. And I remember like chatting with you. I've seen you speak, and it's a lot of fun. Paraphilosophy, paranormal philosophy. Yeah. Yes, like this is great stuff. Don't you think though it's better, Brian, for us to just repeat the things we see people say on TV and just keep saying it louder and louder until people agree with us?
Yeah. The shirts need to be tighter and tighter, smaller and smaller. We need to be able to breathe less so that when we say dude and man, it's very clipped and sounds like we're really in distress.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So good. We're on the same page.
We got this TV formula down. Come on.
Why don't we have hit shows right now? What's up with that?
Kind of do, but yeah,
All right. Yeah, indirectly.
We should have a hit show, and actually, so you technically do too. You're just not on camera.
I know. I'm behind the scenes, and that's okay. So I don't want to freak you out. I did bring an EMF meter, K2.
Okay.
And I'm gonna hold it right up. Yeah, you're not haunted. Nothing.
Okay, that's good. The only spirits in here are in here.
Wait, hold the glass up.
Okay, check it out. Doctor?
Oh, there it goes. Did you see it spike?
Doctor. Oh. God, that's proof. That's proof positive. That is caught on camera.
This is nice. Nice reference. Oh, that was good. This is a ghost detector. It's what it does.
That's patented.
It's something. Oh, so I like when you speak, because you go up there and you just kind of let it go free form. And I like that you actually think about the subject, because there's so many people that just really repeat the same old tropes about, oh, don't touch Ouija boards, and oh, there's this, and oh, there's that. And it's just stuff that other people have said. And have you really given it any thought? I know I did a bunch of research for a book years ago, just like, why do we use EMF meters? Like, that was the question I asked. And I'm like, pretty much because a psychic told us to, like, over 100 years ago, right? When electricity was new and exciting, and mesmerists and the earliest days of psychical research were like, yes, this new energy, this is what explains all psychic ability. And so they said, well, okay, we can look for stuff to detect, energy sources. And we just never really got out of that. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it hasn't.
I mean, I just say it's wrong because I feel like, and that's, you brought up paralosophy. That was one of the tenets of it. Ask questions, ask why. Don't worry about the how, ask about the why. I want people to think more and do less. There's no reason to run out right now. We're not solving the paranormal this weekend. So, everybody's running around trying to get the latest and the greatest, and we have a handle. We don't. And I feel that, to use EMF detectors as an example, there's been no development. There's been no advancements of the theory based on this. And yeah, sometimes they light up and we don't understand why, but we can't yet say this is supernatural in nature. And we don't have enough data to be able to say, okay, this is a question I ask in all my lectures. I ask the audience, what is the concentration of how many milligauss per square foot will indicate a haunting at a location? And some people will scratch their heads and they'll try to
yellow. I believe yellow is the answer.
Yellow. And after I get a lot of varied answers, someone will eventually say, oh, I don't know, or it's a trick question. I say, yes, exactly, because we don't have that data. And I feel like, well, why don't we have that data? Maybe because we're looking in the wrong place. Maybe EMF is not it. Maybe it's just a side effect of that. So we need to look elsewhere. I really feel that way.
So Tracy had a comment, and Tracy, like, she should be our executive producer. I am so 100% on board with this. Instead of drunk history, drunk paranormal, like ghost hunting shows. There are many people advocate, like, you should never drink if you're going to investigate the paranormal. I'm not in that camp. I'm, I mean, if you're trying to do real science, maybe it's best not to be, 4 drinks in, but if you're having a good time and looking to have an experience, if you were a ghost, Brian J., and you wanted to, like, would you talk to, like, the eggheads with, like, the wire rim glasses and all the gear, or would you be like, hey, Brian and Jeff, woo, what's up, bros?
Totally. Well, it's one of those things where a lot of us were taught by TV, influenced by TV. I admit it. I said these words when I first started really trying to get official in the early 2000s. You'd stand there in the room in the dark with your audio recorder, and you would say, quote unquote, is there any spirit in here who wishes to communicate? Please make your presence known. And who talks like that? Really? Like, we all do. I said it. I used to say those words, and sometimes on TV I still hear them saying that. Why? It's like, you go into a party, that's the guy you're not hanging out with.
That's right. Who would like to talk to me at this party? I'm very, very lonely.
Where none of the girls are? Yeah. That's where that guy is.
Yeah, that's right. That was me, Brian. Pretty much my whole life. I don't need to be reminded of it, okay? But I am going to start. But, I wonder if the only thing I was missing at the party was, like, the audio recorder, right? Like, what if I was just that close? Like, excuse me, miss, would you like to speak into this? It won't hurt you. It's just talk to me, please.
My density has popped me to you.
Yeah. Brian, you got to hear this recording I just got at the party. It says, get out.
Get lost.
Do not come back. Damn it. It's not easy. A lot of people are on board with this. Look at all these comments. Sometimes the only way I can do an investigation if I had a couple of drinks. No judgment here. No judgment.
That describes a lot of jobs. Yes.
Yeah. Paranormal Caught. Yeah. I love it. Everybody's on board with this. So we got to do it.
All right, we're doing it.
Let's call some people. And
we'll just drunken paranormal history. We'll talk about all that stuff.
Spirits and spirits, right? Like, there's the title. Just, yeah. and we'll be scientific about it because that's who we are. Be like, oh, with whiskey we get these results. With rum,
True. We have to do a blind double study, a double-blind study, and yeah, some serious research.
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna be big, man. People watch it, and then we'll have like night vision cameras and be drunk, so we won't be able to see where we're going.
Thank you, Jason, for picking up the reference. And see, this is the thing.
Who did it? Who said it?
I dropped the Back to the Future reference. I got to tell you, one of the things that I have the most fun with on Paranormal Caught on camera is getting to be able to drop pop culture references and having them not cut them out. To the point where now I'm trying to seed certain things in. And there's a couple things for season 3 that I've seeded that I haven't told them. They're usually pretty cool with me just referencing things as long as it makes sense. Whereas on Haunted Collector, they would not, for the life of me, let me say anything that wasn't Johnny, get here, or you better get your dad.
Yeah, and that's what's tough when you're doing a show, right? Is that like, I mean, again, not accusing anybody of faking anything, but I just mean like at some point it becomes produced, right? Because TV shows are produced. Like, hey, that was great. You got to walk in the building again. I've walked in the building 4 times. Yeah, do it again because the light was wrong.
This one time, it was at this old hotel in California. It was kind of this old West mocked up town, but the hotel was still in operation. They were looking to expand on it. And the rumor was that at the top of the stairs, people kept getting pushed because of some angry woman at the top of the stairs. All right, whatever. We went up there. It was me, Chris Zaffis, and Jesslyn. And we're about to set up the scene where the cameras start rolling. They're like, all right, guys, you're going to start the investigation and go. And we just started cutting up. And we're like, oh, Jesslyn's going to push us down the stairs. We're going to reenact it. And we were laughing. And over the radio, we hear, guys, come on, be serious. And I'm thinking, well, everything can't be serious, especially when you're dealing with serious material. Sometimes the solution is, levity. You want your joke to pull yourself out of this dark situation. And I mean, season 1, we were able to cut up some more and just have some jokes and rib on the old man. But as it went on, they really kind of wanted us to follow this marching order that just be serious.
It's a shame because if any of the producers ever went out with us on like real stuff, like I mean, it's if it wasn't fun, we wouldn't do it, right? Because it doesn't pay. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I do the job because it makes me money. No, like, I mean, if you didn't goof around with your friends and have some laughs and have some like, I mean, it's exciting. It can be titillating, but it can also be hours of boring, right? When you're just like, dude, it's your turn to get coffee. Oh, I went last time. No, it's your turn. I got donuts. Okay. I mean,
given how packed the bars were at the end of our days, I'm surprised that they didn't pick up on like, there's something to this. I don't know.
No, for sure, man, for sure. So what's I know everybody's been shut down as far as events and speaking gigs. I've been doing a lot, actually. I've been doing Zoom meetings. I've had the opportunity to I speak at a lot of libraries, and they've just kind of switched them over to virtual ones. Oh, okay. So it's one cool thing is that I'm able to do what I do, and people can attend from everywhere, and I've got a bunch booked. Are you doing anything virtually or what? What do you got going on?
The only thing that I've been doing virtually, and I've been doing it since its inception, I have a Patreon page. Yeah. And I used to do this on Facebook years ago, but I have a bi-weekly show called Tuesday Night Bri, where I just come on, and it's mostly a hangout, but sometimes I do have topics and things we discuss. Earlier this week, I had the Ziggity on to do a
John Zaffis. Yes.
Johnny the Ziggity Zaffis was on, and it was cool. It's for my patrons. It's for, hey, this is for you guys. I want to do some special engagements, but I haven't really been doing anything on a larger scale, and I feel like it's time. But as you see down there on the link, that's the address if you guys want to check it out. And
sorry, there it is.
Yeah, oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah, there it is. Check it out. And I know that Patreon's got a lot of good stuff going on, and we live in an interesting time, right, where there's so much content available, but also ways that we can get it to people and we can connect with people, right? We can connect with our audiences, which is just really cool. I mean, there's an opportunity right now.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that so many pop culture conventions and other conventions and just everything, we're not going to see this fall the big events that we used to, the way we are used to them. But now that everything's virtual, I'm getting emails every day. So meet your favorite star, meet this online. And I'm thinking it's not the same, but
no,
it's all we've got. So I'll take it.
No, you're totally right. It's not the same, but at the same time, like, this is what we can do. So we do it.
Yes. Well, I mean, think of it this way. Even the big shows, you go on TV, and now they're all doing things like this, where it's now time-stamped. And in 10 years' time, we'll look back on these old TV shows. There'll be reruns, and then all of a sudden the quality will drop, and everyone's on their webcams, and we're thinking, what happened? Oh, that was the year of the pandemic. Okay, yeah.
Anyway, I'm due for number 2. So watch you. I've got this whole look. Now we're going blueberry.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So they've been making this one forever, but Dr. Pepper, yeah. Dr. Pepper makes me burp like profusely. No, not for you.
My body is probably a good 92% Dr. Pepper. Just like the earth is 70% water.
Yeah.
That makeup is me with Dr. Pepper.
So you've become immune.
Yes, and to the point where I am now inversely related to the planet, in that if I drink water, it upsets my stomach. No joke.
Wow, sounds like you're going to live a long, healthy life.
Yes, I will be the last person on this planet.
Oh, thanks for the New England reference there, Melissa. Moxie. Love it. And yes, Franklin, it is blueberry beer. So be honest, Brian, what is your favorite Howard Jones song?
There's a lot of good ones. Actually, I should have sent you the picture of me and Howard Jones.
Oh, you name dropper.
Yes. The T-shirt.
I was talking to Spielberg about name droppers the other day.
The T-shirt I wear a lot is from a tour I went to go see, and it has his Korg keyboard synthesizer, and the word says it can only get better. And I feel like that's enough positivity that I need in my life. So that's probably my because it's probably the most well known, but I love a lot of his music.
Look at you. You got choked up.
I did.
You did. You just got a little verklempt. Life in one day for me. That's me.
Okay.
Don't try to live your life in one day. Yeah. Don't try to live your life in one day. I was in an airport last summer, and they started JFK actually. And
no, but what's an airport?
Oh, an airport is where planes used to fly. It's a legend. I'm not sure they really existed ever, but people got in these winged dragons and they flew places far away. So,
right, here we
go.
Trying to get the glare. There.
Look at you.
He's old.
Yeah. My God. Suzette says we're adorbs. I don't know if she means you and me or you and Howard Jones. Probably you and Howard Jones. That's fine. Carl, who's 12 drinks in, which I mentioned, wants you to talk about the famous triangle. Go.
That sounds scandalous. You mean
the triangle? I don't know. I thought maybe you knew. Forget it.
Carl,
so yeah.
And he's a green, so
yeah, he's in the UK. It's late over there. It's super late.
True.
He's up.
True.
And he's not the only one. There's a few people here tonight from the UK. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. And thanks for sharing if you have been, liking the page and all that other stuff. I started doing this, Brian, right after quarantine because I just missed drinking with friends. And
this is good. I mean, a couple of our buddies have been, hopping on and doing things just to keep people sane. Actually, me, Paul Bradford, and Robert Buxar reunited after 2 years and did a broadcast of 3 Geek Senate, our pop culture geek nerdery fan fest.
Nice.
A month ago, and we're just like, all right, we're bored. We know you guys are bored. I hate the hashtag. We're in this together, but we're all here, so let's get something.
Yeah, and the well, that's the thing, right? That we're all in the same boat, and people have been correcting that because it's true. We're all in the same. We're all
together, but we're in different boats.
The boats are very different. Some are yachts, and
some are dinghies.
Some are dinghies with a leak, and so yeah.
I think I might have a pair of swimmies and a life preserver,
which is better than some. But
swim is fashionable, man. So.
Yeah, no, I miss doing just about anything. But The good news is a lot of my stuff that I'm most passionate about is like going out into like really remote places and looking for weird stuff, which I can do alone and I can do without any people around. So I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm now looking for like, okay, what's a story I can go cover where there's nobody around, like, some abandoned place out in the woods or something like that, and just there's nothing I got to worry about. I don't need to wear a mask because there'll be no people. So those are some of the things I'm starting to look into now because I just got to get out of the house, dude. I'm getting cooped up, son.
I think Jennifer Adams finally got my Carl reference. Awesome. Carl.
These folks are sharp.
See, I've been thinking of it too. Like, where's there a place that I can go and, broadcast an EVP session, just somewhere we can go where it's, obviously socially distanced, could be closed at the time, but they'll let me in just so that people can have this glimpse, this fix. Everybody's jonesing. They want it. Yeah. And I know I'm eager to get back out there too.
Yeah, dude. I mean, anything, right? Like, I had Amy Bruni on here a few weeks ago, and she's like, I miss going to a restaurant, and I'm like, I get it. Remember, you'd go to these places and you'd look at all this options, and they would bring you food and drinks, and you would eat it, and you just leave the mess right there.
Qu'est-ce que te dice restaurante?
Como se va the food?
Yeah. Legend.
Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, that was awesome. It doesn't have to be a fancy a diner. Give me a diner, just a diner where you go in and you get like meatloaf. Remember meatloaf?
Going to the movies and overpaying for popcorn and just, sitting there in the big room and just the event of doing it, opening night, or just being there and being excited and the energy of all the other people around.
Yeah. And so we have this, right? And I think that's one of the things that's the best feedback I've gotten on doing these things is when someone says like, I felt social. I had drinks with you guys. Like I felt like I did something social, and that's pretty cool. And maybe that's why I don't over prep for this. Cause I know like we'll get a few drinks in and just be like, let's talk about football, whatever.
I mean, it happened 30 years ago, even 20 years ago,
15 years ago, 10 years ago.
We wouldn't have this connectivity. We'd all be, maybe it would be locational where like people on a block would band together and kind of, we would strengthen some relationships, but what would happen?
Yeah, no, for sure. Candace, very observant. You obviously weren't here earlier, Candace, because this is what I looked like yesterday and then today. And it was amazing. You can rewind, you can watch the replay after and see the whole story. No. It's a weird time, but I'm also trying to I've been productive. I mean, I've rebuilt my website. I finished a book that's going to print next week. The Kilimanjaro, it's done. Like I'm doing my author read. It's the final author read. It's like the book's laid out. This is your last chance, right? You read every page and any little word you want to change. Like this is that last moment, and then it goes to print. So yeah. And I know you've written a book you're trying to sell now, right?
Yes, it's been a long time coming. My entire life, one of the main things I've wanted to do was write a book, but I can't even say that I had writer's block because that would indicate falsely that I had started and somehow stopped. I never got it underway, but I could text or tweet or post with a grammatical flair, and like that was the extent of my production. But I had never sat down and said, all right, I'm going to write a book, mainly because I didn't know what I should write about. And at this point, I've been in the paranormal for 18 years officially, and I had some stories to tell, and I felt like, okay, do I do a manual? Do I do something locational? I'm like, no, I'm gonna do something else. And it's something that Rosemary said to me. She said,
Rosemary Ellen Guiley, rest in peace.
Rosemary Ellen Guiley.
For those who don't know.
She said that the personal experience, anecdotal evidence is important, and it needs to be cataloged, and it's just as important as the data. And I said, yeah, and after looking through some old footage of an interview I shot with her and hearing her say that again, that very next day, I just got all these slips of paper and I started jotting down. And actually, some of it happened at work. I would grab some pea slip paper and I would just jot down, gotta tell this story. got to tell that story. Oh, there's a
Yeah.
time this happened. And I had all these slips of paper. I went home and I just said, okay, I'm going to start writing. Every chapter is a story, and I'll write what I feel like writing until it comes together. And it took me about three months to write, then a few more to edit. It came out very quickly, so I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I had some getaways where I did nothing but write, so that helped. And now I'm in the process. It's completed, and I'm in the process of searching for a literary agent to take it to a publishing house.
I remember you talking to me about writing a book years ago, and you're like, "How do you do it?" And I was like, "Hey, man, I really don't know." And that was truly an honest answer. I'm like, I don't. You start, and then sometimes it's like climbing a mountain. You keep going, and then you realize, hey, I'm at the top. Now it's time to go back down. Right? I mean,
you gave me good advice, that day. And I remember you told me you were having a problem about, you started your narrative at the beginning and how you got to the top of the mountain. It would be much more interesting. I'm already at the top of the mountain. Let me tell you how I got there.
Yeah. So with any story, and this is true of anything, anyone who ever wants to write a story, fiction, nonfiction, movie, fantasy, I don't care what it is. No, here's some freedom, right? Everyone's like, how do I start? What's the beginning? No story you've ever heard in your entire life starts at the beginning. None of them. Zero, zilch, nada. Not Star Wars, not Jaws, not Lord of the Rings, not the Bible. In the beginning, right? Well, but who could say in the beginning, right? So that doesn't even start in the beginning. Like no story, it just jumps in somewhere, right? Star Wars, you're in the middle of a space battle, pew, 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 right?
Yeah.
And we're off, right? Oh, get these droids off the ship. We're being boarded. That was not the beginning of the story. The prequels weren't even the beginning. So just start.
When you dropped into the action, it's so much better. And I remember the advice you told me was, you said, just start writing, just write, and just whatever comes out, don't worry, you can edit it later. Just get it on the page. Right. And I'd heard this before, but I feel like that was the final nudge to say, like, yeah, I just have to do it. And I did it. And even if no one ever reads it, I'm happy that I did it. It's an accomplishment. I finally did something that I set out to do, that I went to college for, to say I want to be a writer, and it never happened. So maybe happened.
It's an awesome accomplishment. And like, getting a book done is not easy to do. It's like running a marathon. They're like, oh, but it took me like, 4 hours and 57 minutes. I'm like, you ran a marathon. That's amazing. Like you don't have to win it. You have to, but to finish is truly incredible.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. It's totally a big deal. Like that's a big thing to take on. So congratulations. Anne has a question. She's, hey, Jeff Belanger and guest. That's you, Brian.
Yes, it's just the generic catch-all, like whoever's on tonight.
Yeah, I wonder if she pastes that each time, just copy and then be like, next one, be like, hey, Jeff Belanger and guest. So I'm going to let you answer because, I'm going to have another drink. What's your biggest motivation to work in the paranormal?
For doing the work in the paranormal? It varies. It's on a spectrum that depends on what it is I'm doing. For instance, Paranormal Caught on camera. Since it's a TV show, my inspiration is to get as much good information out there, to get the right information out there, to deliver my opinions in a way that inspire conversation. Because again, the show isn't about this is real and you got to believe it. None of these videos were taken by us, so we have no personal bias to say, oh, you got to believe it. It's just like, look, all right, well, let's talk about it. Let's further this conversation. So that's that. When I'm at a convention and meeting people and going on hunts, again, I want to deliver and try to help people evolve so that they're better investigators and they become more thoughtful. When I'm writing a book, I just want to tell a story, much like spirits do. So sometimes I just want to have fun. You mentioned 3 Pillars, the card game I made, and that's I hid some learning in there, I will admit, but most of it is just, let's have fun. Let's celebrate this hobby, vocation, whatever we want to call it, that we all love so much.
I think that the conversation is the most important part because, I mean, come on, we're not going to reach many conclusions, but the one thing I'm willing to preach, right? Like in the beginning, I thought I knew it all. I mean, I started doing this in the mid 90s, Ed and Lorraine Warren, and I was writing for newspapers, and I started Ghost Village in 1999. And back then I'm like, after a few years, I'm like, I got it figured out. ghosts are just EMF, they're energy, orbs are this, blah, 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 blah. And then you get a little further along and you're like, oh my God, I don't know anything. Right? Like there's this curve you go through. You're like, I know nothing. I know everything. Oh yeah, no, I really know nothing. And when you get back,
that bell curve is the same bell curve for equipment. You don't have any. You get one EMF detector, then you have 10 cases of things with all these cameras, and then you're like, I don't need all this stuff back down to just what I can carry.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Right. Like, which is usually like your pen. Question for me: why do I not age? I don't know. I really don't. But so yeah. So you get back to that point where you realize you know nothing. But what's fascinating to me, and this is where like the legend guy in me, the legend hunter, lives and breathes, is that why do people talk about one building being haunted and the building right next door, which is just as old, if not older, is not? Why? That's it. That's the only question I ask.
One of my pet peeves is when you go to any famous building, haunt, historical, whatever, and they go, oh, there's a lot of history here. Like, yeah, there's a lot of history everywhere. History isn't something that is contained within walls. It's happening 24/7. It's happening down the block right now. Mm-hmm. It just might not be famous history or well-known history, but it's just as interesting and it's relevant to the people who are living through it. So,
well, that's the thing. And so to me, like, so the part of the paranormal is that, you connect, right? So when I go to some creepy old prison or an old hospital, I like to know the history of it. And then I start thinking about like, oh God, imagine if I were an inmate here. Imagine if I came in sick to this tuberculosis hospital and knew that I'm probably not leaving, on my own feet. That helps me connect to what it must have been like. And that empathy puts me to a place, right? So
back in March, this March, right before everything went to hell, I had an event. It was a private event. Jeff is a vampire, yes.
Yes, could be.
Louis, another risk of losing you, Louis. I had an event at Burlington County Jail down in Mount Holly, New Jersey. It's a private event, 10 people, and they came, they're eager. Some of them were new to the paranormal, some of them, minor exposure to it. And they said, okay, how are we going to do this? What are we going to do? How are we going to start? I put each one of them in a cell, lock them in, shut the lights off for 10 minutes. And I said, think about what you did. And I really wanted to immerse them in it so that they would, even for the slightest amount of time, consider what it was like for the people in here. Put yourself in their shoes.
Right.
And I didn't tell that. I didn't even know how long I was going to put them in. By the end of the 10 minutes, I was going stir crazy, like, oh, maybe I should turn the lights on. But for them, I asked them and I said, well, how did you feel? And a lot of them were panicked. They didn't know what was going on. They didn't know when I was going to let them out. And I said, all right, this is a good way to start, putting yourself in that place and getting that empathy going.
And when you're scared, when you're afraid, your senses are sharper, you're more open for fight or flight, all that stuff. No, I think that experiment's brilliant. If I would have done it, I would have put them in there. Everything you did, shut off the lights, and then gone to the bar.
Who says I didn't?
Good point. But 10 minutes, I'm like, I don't know. I'd have like 3 drinks, and I'd come back and be like,
quick, I got a thing I got to get back to.
I got a thing. I got just 2 more, and that's it. Okay, 1 more drink, and I swear this is my last one, bro. And you go back, okay, now that you're totally immersed in this whole experience, they're in the fetal position in the corner. They're looking like, they're looking like this is what they're looking like. Look at that.
That's the jail. That is from that jail, yes.
Which jail was that?
Burlington County Prison in Mount Holly, New Jersey. And there are several
I know what that is. Yeah.
Paper mache sculpture statues in a lot of the cells just to show relevant size and how some of the prisoners lived.
You could have told us that was a ghost. That was a ghost in shack.
Now.
That was what?
That's how we all feel in quarantine right now. Just,
dude, I know. Like man, it's hard. It's there's days when like, hey, I work from home when I'm not traveling. And there's been some days that really aren't any different than they used to be. I used to have days where the furthest I went is the mailbox, but knowing I can't go, that's the killer. That's the thing.
I see Connie in the chat says, I love your experiments, Brian. Connie, do you remember the retrial of Lizzie Borden? Do you remember that one?
Oh, I was there. I was there.
You dropped by for that.
I crashed that. I totally crashed that one. So, yes, go on. Lizzie Bordenhouse, Fall River, Mass. You were holding a mock trial for Lizzie.
We did it 3 years in a row, and I wanted it to be again a social experiment where a lot of times you go on investigations, you have trigger objects. I wanted this to be a trigger event.
Yep.
We put Lizzie back on trial, and we had literally a court set up down in the basement.
Yep.
We had people and it was limited to 20 guests. 10 for the prosecution, 10 for the defense. Chris Mancuso and I were judges. We had the very fine tour guides at the Lizzie Borden Bread and Breakfasts play the roles of Lizzie, Emma, John Morse, and we would call them to the stand. And we gave the attendees, I think, an hour and a half to meet and gather and make their case. They could call whoever they wanted. They could use whatever material. And we provided them with the same court documents that were actually, brought up in the day. So they had access to everything. And what was great about this is that I can't say that it was Lizzie, but it stirred up the energy in the house so that when the time came after the trial for the investigation to begin, first EVP session, first question, got a result, got an answer. And the energy was prepped. So we did our foreplay quite correctly.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I remember. Yeah, I got to sit in on just a little bit of that. I stopped by it. One of them. I forget which one, but no, that was. What's that?
I think it was the last one.
Yeah, I live like an hour away, so it's it's cool. And that house, I mean, when you walk into it, that's what it looked like. You can see the crime scene photos and be like, wow, they've really made this house look just like it did in the 1890s. And you're stepping back in time. You see the crime scene. You see the and. If nothing else, you got to remind yourself sometimes. I mean, I know the paranormal's fun and all that other stuff, but man, a dude was hacked to death right here where you're standing. You got to remind yourself of that sometimes and be like, man, come on.
That's a place. And again, I love the Lizzie Borden house. And for the most part, I don't go there these days to investigate. I go there to hang out with Leanne and just socially interact with the human residents. And the people who come in love the case. It's an infamous case. I highly recommend anyone goes there. But think of it. That's like in 15, 20 years. Yes, Michelle.
Good to know.
Derailed, distracted. In 15, 20 years, imagine we go to OJ's house, and it comes to bed and breakfast, and there's this...
the OJ bed and breakfast. I'd go. All right, fine. I'd go.
James Simpson bed and breakfast.
Yep.
And we're de facto celebrating a horrific unsolved murder. But it's that mystery that keeps us going, that keeps us interested. I know friends of mine who are Lizzie enthusiasts, like they write books and they live and breathe the case. And that's passion. I admire it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we had Leanne just a few weeks ago. We were live from Lizzie Borden house. We did one of these speakeasies, and that was fun. So Leanne was there and kind of walked around the house and it was, and Danielle, one of the tour guides and historian of the house, she was here too. So it was really cool.
She played for us. She was our Emma Borden.
She was your Emma. Okay. So, hey, look, you got a name now, Jeff Belanger and Brian Cano. What's been your most memorable investigation? I'll let you go, 'cause you're the guest.
It's always I get asked this 100% of the time, and 100% of the time I will answer the Grand Midway Hotel in Windber, Pennsylvania, which is a chapter I entitled "The Circle of Fire" in my upcoming book.
Oh, very good. Nice plug for the book. Well done.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. Very cool. Do you want to expound on that, or we're just going to leave it there? Is that enough?
Well, we can leave it there, but I mean, just to put it in a nutshell, and it was also so with Lizzie, and I touched upon this before. Even though what we do in the paranormal seems on the surface to be the exploration of the dead and the afterlife and what happens to us, and we're trying to get evidence of these fantastic things, at its core, what we're really doing is still just sociology. We're trying to connect with other beings. We're trying to connect with other people. We're trying to learn from them, and in our trying to make contact, we're just trying to establish this back and forth, this communication. So everywhere I've gone, there's been activity and there have been some horrific things and scary moments. But what I come away with and what I treasure the most are the relationships, the friendships I've made, the places that I keep going back to just to hang out with the owners, the friends that will come see me when they're in town. And it's that human connection that, be it on the other side or this one, that's what's important. And with the Grand Midway, it started out as probably my scariest case. It was also the case where I met Rosemary. I met Adam Bly. Ziggity was there too that day. It was my one and only case that I encountered something that I can say with confidence was demonic. I've been back there since for Haunted Collector. And after that, Chris Mancuso and I locked ourselves away for a week in something we called Writer's Jail. Been back there for Kerouac Fest, Dracula Con. I've been back there just to hang out. We've done bar crawls. We've done so many things there. And Grand Midway is also the site of the Guinness World Records world's largest Ouija board that we painted on the roof.
Oh, because that was rivaled recently in Salem. So I don't know measurements or anything, but that was.
It's like they especially last year at my Paracon, some people came up to me like, "Our board is bigger than yours." I'm like, so like, who cares? Like, if that's how you're going to come at it, reap the benefits of your turbulence. But for us, we just had fun. We painted a Ouija board on the ceiling of a hotel. Hopefully you could see it on Google Earth. And
right,
it was just like, all right, yours might be bigger, but ours was first. So
yeah. And Brian,
did you rediscover America? So whatever.
Size matters. I don't know.
Theirs was bigger, but it also had ads. And I mean, I think to their credit, it was beautifully done and woodwork. Like, it was a beautiful looking board. But, come forward on your merits, not to be like, hey, look at them, we're better than them. Sounds like TV show posturing. And I'm not about that.
All right. Hey, Carl wants to know, who insists, by the way, he's not drunk. What's our most memorable moment in the UK? Both of us have had drinks with Carl in the UK. I did it like 10 a.m. that was the first one anyway. Well, I had been flying all night. So here's what happened.
I'll somewhere. That's true.
It was, so I'll share my story first. Okay. The first Sage Paracon I went to, Carl picked me up from the airport, and I don't sleep well on airplanes. I just don't. But we flew all night, landed in Dublin first, and at like 4:30 in the morning. And I'm like, well, I should have a Guinness, because when in Rome. And the turns out the airport pub doesn't open up until 5 a.m. So I had to wait. And then they lift the gate and I go in and I get a Guinness, and then flew over to England, which is a super short flight, like 40 minutes. And then Carl picks me up. We get to the place. It's like 10:30 in the morning. He's like, do you want a pint? And I'm like, yeah, I've been drinking since 5 a.m., which is like midnight back. I don't even know. Yeah, let's have a drink. So that was my first one with Carl, my most memorable moment in the UK. How about you?
I don't remember a lot of drinking with Carl, which means we probably had a good time. But I remember the first time I met Carl was at a convention. I think it was a benefit for soldiers.
Okay.
Some heroes benefits. And it was the first time I met Carl, and I met Elizabeth Coward, and I met a lot of cool people over there. And I just remember the party you have on the first night. He was well dressed, and Amy Goodwin was there. And I remember taking this one picture where it's like Amy and me and Carl was just like the kingpin. He's like, pow! Yeah. And we were these little tiny people next to him, but sweet guy. So
yes.
Cheers, Carl.
Cheers, Carl. Cheers. Deborah wrote a book about her family in the early 1600s. You must be old, Deborah. You must be like wicked old.
She's the vampire.
Yeah, you're the vampire. You're what, 440 right now, maybe? I don't know, 430 at least? That's impressive.
Most impressive.
Most impressive. You're immortal. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yes, indeed. No, that's the best part about this. You're right. The most memorable stuff is the people you meet and the connections you make. Yeah. And I like I don't expect to have haunted experience, but I just can say like, wow, I'm in this place where it's got all these stories. Like, people have had these crazy experiences, whether it's the Tower of London or Gettysburg or a hotel in Pennsylvania or anything, I mean, it's just, to to me, that's the best part. That's the guarantee, right? I am going to go in and get to like walk in the legend. I don't know if I'll see a ghost. I have no idea. I usually don't, but I don't care. I'm just psyched to
What
be
I
there.
tell people all the time, and I'm sure you've noticed this too. A lot of times when we go to places, and especially when there's events and we get to the hunt portion, then invariably they'll ask, "Oh, is this the room where A happened to be on that show?" And we're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, is this the room?" And I tell them, "Who cares? This is the first time you're here.
Yeah,
This
right.
is unique because something is going to, don't worry what happened to them. Don't worry what happened to me. It doesn't matter because what's going to happen to you is going to be something that we can share later and compare notes. And I don't want it to be exactly the same. We can't develop, we can't grow, we can't further anything that way. But every experience is unique and special because of it.
And haven't you found too, like, especially when we do the things with the groups where we're guiding people through, how often does someone have an experience that's not related to the location at all? They're like, I'm getting this elderly man. I think it's my grandpa. And you're like, wow, we're in this old prison. Was your grandpa in this prison? No, he's never even been in this part of the country. And you go, oh,
no.
Well, that's interesting. And maybe it's because that they're open in that location. They're expecting a experience. Yeah. And they connect. And, yeah, that's always interesting to me when people are, you know, seeing things that aren't related at all to the location, but yet having a profound experience.
It's been happening that way with me because I've been breaking out the pendulum a lot at events, and I've found that using it and working with it, I don't get a lot of information about the place. I usually get someone coming through for someone in attendance, and I just become the go-between. And I've accepted it at this point that, all right, I'm ready for that to happen. And if people are open enough and want to share these details, I tell them, I'm like, look, it looks like something's coming through for you. If you don't feel comfortable sharing, then we'll shut it off. But if you want to, and a lot of people do get those personal messages that they weren't expecting, and that's something.
It is, and it's amazing when you see people get kind of overcome with emotion, because they weren't expecting it. They were hoping to just have some sort of like titillating, interesting ghost experience, like wispy white shape over there, and then but when it's like something that personal, and that's the thing too, right? Like, so if it's because it got personal, it became so emotional for you, and maybe this isn't right. Well, whatever's out there is really emotional and personal to somebody, even if they're not there right now. You know what I mean? Like that's one of the questions we would ask. Is it okay to like be poking in the dark at potentially people, you know, what were people? And I don't know. I mean, I struggle with that too. And on the other hand, I've had a few experiences I can't explain with any other word but ghost, and I want more. And so on the one hand, if I poke in the dark and it pokes back, I'm kind of psyched. Because usually it doesn't happen. I don't know.
Not getting poked in the dark enough, Jeff?
What?
Not getting poked enough in the dark is what you're saying?
There's that. Yeah.
Right.
Either not enough or too much. It's really hard to hit the balance. It's hard to
you're right. It's weird because like you go out, and I think this is some of the pressure that people put on themselves when they go to these events. They're going to be at this location. Sometimes they've traveled hours to get to it, and it would be sad if they left and they didn't have an experience. So sometimes they manufacture one just to be like, hey, I got my money's worth and I had my time. But sometimes it happens in a way you couldn't have even expected. And that's the truth. That's like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. I have a lot to think about now. And that's the best.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I don't know, that's what keeps me going, right? Is finding that next story, finding why it's still around, finding how I connect to it, right? Because any story, I don't care what it is, whether it was a song or a play or a movie or whatever, if you can't connect to it, it's not interesting to you. And
I mean, songs come on and you know exactly where you were the first time you heard it. Some of them you're like, it anchors you in time, and all those emotions come back and transport you to this other place. So
yeah, for sure. And thank you, John, for that reference of bumping back. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, Brian, it's been like an hour, and I don't know. Do you have any drinks left? Because I'm empty.
That went quickly. I think at the bottom.
Yeah, that's how I know when the show's over. I don't even look at the clock. I just go, man, I'm out. That was it.
Come on, and they're like, look, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
You cannot stay here. But I appreciate you coming. Again, check out Brian's website, neverstopsearching.com, his Patreon or Patreon, his potato or potato, Brian J. Cano, there it is, and doing all kinds of cool stuff there. And, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook and all that. And if you want to see some of my lectures, there's my website. I've got all of them, tons of them, right? There's, I think I've got 6 or 7 in the next few weeks, and they're free. Like, you don't have to pay there, and you can be wherever. You just go, click on events, and you can go sign up and check it out. I got one Monday in Medway, Massachusetts, but it doesn't matter. You could go wherever you are. So there's that. And of course, I do accept tips. Your bartender appreciates, the beer fund. If you want to kick something in, there it is. And thank you guys. Thank you, Brian J. Any parting words of wisdom before we ride off into the sunset?
Thank you, Chuck Norris.
I'll take it. All right, y'all.
Last movie reference for the night. So thanks for having me on. It was a good time. I had fun.
Yeah, man. Good talking to you. Good catching up. I appreciate it. All right, folks. Until next time, please take it easy. We love you.